Hello everyone. Wow, it has been such a long time. But here I am, and I'm gonna talk you through my currently inked. So let me first show you the pens I have inked up, and then I'm gonna show you sort of like how they write and what I have. So the first pen that I currently have inked up is a little Pilot Kakuno with a medium nib. Then I have still inked up my absolutely stunning and gorgeous Leonardo Memento Zero Grande 2.0. And it's the Nana Rosa, so they're kind of Milky Way, astronomy, whatever, kind of like special, which I love this pen. Look at this. I'm still in love with this pen. I love the color, I love everything. Then I have my Franklin-Christoph Model 20 in a bottle green, without any clip or anything. Very light. I love it. Then I have my newest edition, which is the Benu Earl Grey, the Goulet Pens exclusive. And then, I have never shown you this. This is my currently only vintage pen, and I adore this pen. It's the cutest little pen. So this is a Pelikan 400 from 1952. So those are the pens that I have currently inked up. And let's see how they write, and I will tell you a little bit more about them. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here, see how that's gonna go. There we go. All right, so one of the things that I recently realized is I have a lot of ink samples, and somehow that has really overwhelmed me. And I'm actually currently thinking that I'd love to have designated inks. I mean, I might switch it up, but just be more consistent with my inks, which is really interesting. I'm still love to play with my pens, but the inks right now, just having so many is a little bit overwhelming. So, but anyways, so the Pilot Kakuno here. So this is one that I have put in a sample. And this Pilot Kakuno, like, I actually, like, every time I use it, I'm quite surprised. I really, it's quite a fun, easy writer. So I can't remember at all how I used to do this. Okay, so this is the Pilot Kakuno, and this is a medium nib, which is really, like, it feels super fine to me because I usually write with broad nibs, but this combination, it's super flowy, and it's really yeah, it's quite smooth, quite nice. I really quite like this combination. And the sample is Octopus Fluids Weinrot, which is actually, Weinrot is just the color in German, and it's kind of like a burgundy color. And I have to say, like, this color is not my favorite. So I find it just a little blah, but there's nothing wrong with it. I actually love how the pen and the nib and the ink together behave. It's just not the funnest color. It does remind me of my grandma, so that is kind of nice. So this actually has a reusable long cartridge in here, and it's just a fun little writer. I do really enjoy the little Kakuno every now and then. Then, now I have to remember. So this is, as I said, this is the Leonardo. And I had gotten this from Pen Realm. And this is a custom grind, and it's a cursive smooth italic, but it started with a broad nib. And I did talk about this pen when I first got it in a separate video. I kept this, I have had this like inked now for quite a while, just because I really like it. I really like writing with it. I love the size of the pen in my hand. It's really oops, there we go. It's really a really pleasant writing experience. I like the Leonardo pens. They just really fit wonderfully into my hands. As I said, so it is a broad, cursive, smooth italic, which was done by Pen Realm and Kirk Spear. And you can see here, we have like the thick down strokes and the narrow side strokes. And I really like it. Oh, and I forgot to write what the ink is. So the ink, I have a bottle of this and I didn't take it out, but it's the Dominant Industry Earl Grey. And I love this orange. It's a very gorgeous orange. It flows really well. I really, really like it. It's a really great combination. Then I have my, as I said, let's see. So this is my Franklin-Christoph Model 20. It's a snap top. I forget every time, so you can just pull it off. And it has a cartridge converter. And so this is the fun part. So this is the no, I lost my word. Let me look it up. So this has a SIG nib. So they has the Franklin-Christoph SIG nib on it, and it's a SIG medium. And I remember when I had first gotten this nib and I wrote with it, I hated it. I really didn't like it. I think it was my first custom grind, and I was very disappointed. And so I used this pen with, I think it's vintage green. Don't count me on this. It might be a different color, but it's some sort of green. Where was it? So it's a medium SIG nib. And so I wrote with this pen. I love this pen. It's a little bit smaller than the pens that I usually love, but there's something about this. It actually fits really quite nicely in my hand. I love writing with it. It's very light. Usually I like heavier pens, but I really like this pen. You could actually also post it. I just don't rarely post my pens, but it actually would work really quite well posted. But then I put a sample of Robert Oster River of Fire, into this pen and tried this nib again. And oh my God, it's absolutely stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I love writing with it. So I'm not sure if you can see the different nib width, but it was such a stunning and good reminder that the ink is so important when you decide on how much you love a pen. And so, yeah, I'm really happy. And I actually ended up buying a whole bottle of River of Fire. It's a sheening ink, but I actually don't necessarily love sheen, but I love it in this pen. And I was like, I will just use this ink in this pen. And I think that's maybe where my thought came in of like, sometimes I don't like, it's blocking me, it's overwhelming me trying to figure out what to put into what. So very happy with this. It's gorgeous, writes really well. Then I just couldn't resist. Well, actually, this is such a typical like pen purchase. I needed more cleaning. I love the Goulet Pens cleaning liquid because every now and then I forget to clean pens. And then I was like, well, I'm in Canada. I can't just order the cleaning supply. So I was like, oh, I need to order something else. And I actually have been pretty good recently at not ordering new pens. I realized I'm also a little bit saturated. And I think I have heard quite a few on YouTube recently talking about how they had been a bit burned out. And I realized I have so many pens that I haven't gotten a fair chance to, and I haven't used them enough. And this might change, but I think for now, the plan really is to just keep writing with some of the pens I have. Like the Franklin-Christoph one, that was a perfect example that I now discovered how much I love it if I use a different ink. But this one, I just couldn't resist. I love the Benus. They fit really nicely. I like that they're cartridge converters. So I really like them to kind of play with some inks. They flow really nicely, and I find it's kind of a fun color with that with that gold and the blue, and it just made me happy. So I did get that. And I also got the ink that is in here. And I think some of you might recognize it because it's making the rounds right now. So this is the ink of the year from Pelikan. So it is the Pelikan Edelstein Golden Lapis. And I mean, it's the perfect combination. It's like you have like the blue in here in this pen, and then you have the gold sprinkles, and this has gold shimmer in it. And yeah, it just fits this pen so perfectly. And I mean, this is so juicy. This could not flow any better. It's even for me, I still love it, but it's right on the edge. But I do really still love it. But I haven't had any issues with it. It's a broad nib. So yeah, I have been writing with it quite a lot. I have heard quite a few people struggle with the shimmer. It definitely doesn't struggle with this pen. And I like this blue. I love this blue, but I love that there is just a little bit more character with this golden shimmer. And I will show you in a second how that looks. All right. Then the last one, I have no idea. This is going to be, I don't know if the quality is going to be with being so zoomed in. We'll figure it out. So as I said, this is my vintage Pelikan 400. It's from 1952, and it's a tortoise shell. And it has a 14K broad nib. And you can see it still has the old kind of nib. Lost the name for it, but you can see how the feed is quite different. So this is actually also where my struggle with this pen comes in. I love this pen so much that I worry about this pen. And that means I don't use it enough, which is kind of not the point. And the piston, so if anyone has any advice, so the piston is very squeaky. And I know I could open it up and put some silicone grease, like the Twispy silicone grease in it, and that would help a lot because I'm actually worried I'm going to break it. But I had already gently tried to twist this nib and feed, and it doesn't budge, and I do not want to break it. I've read recently that I should soak it first, so I might try that, and then very, very gently try to open it up again. But I'm a little stuck, and I don't know if I should send it to someone, if I should bring it somewhere, or if, I don't know, if anyone, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to destroy it, because it's like, I mean, look how cute this is. It's so, like, it warms my heart. It's a little small for my hands, to be honest. Like, longer writing sessions are a little tricky, but I just, like, it just makes me so happy. And so what I did put in here is I had gotten this at the Toronto Pen Show as kind of like a last minute splurge. And and I didn't realize it when I bought it at the time, what it is, but it's a Birmingham Co. Wishy-Washy ink, which they say is super safe for like vintage pens. So I was like, what better to put in here than that ink? So it's the Pelikan, and I mean this nib, I love the bounciness of this. That's the nib. I love like, it's so amazing to write with. Like, look at this. You can really feel like you can really get some nice flex. It is so nice. The ink, I have been writing with it quite a bit. It's called Kingfisher, and it's their wishy-washy line. And I like the color. I love the color. But when I write pretty fast when I journal. It doesn't quite keep up. So I usually like just a little bit more flow. So if we're looking at this, I'm keeping it very simple at the moment in terms of like how many inks. So if we're zooming back out here, you can see the entire lineup. And I'm gonna show you this Pelikan Golden Lapis. I mean, look at all of that shimmer. The shimmer is definitely, I mean, I find that all the time. It doesn't bother me very much, but it's definitely when you start writing, it's much more pronounced. And it's very kind of like inconsistent, but I really like it. There we have the Octopus Fluid Weinrot, the dominant Industrial Gray, which is just such a lovely orange. The Robert Doster River of Fire, which again, it's not spectacular, but it's such a good everyday ink, and I love it in this pen. And you can see maybe just a little bit of sheen. I'm a little bit nervous because this was a sample and I haven't tried the bottle yet, and I would love to be for there to not be way more sheen. So then we have our golden lapis, and then we have the wishy-washy. So that's my current lineup, and I have been journaling quite a bit. So if we're going to show those again, and I'm curious where this is going to go, especially this overwhelm right now by ink samples, and that kind of like need of like just going for pens that I like, but we'll see. And so here I have shown you this before. So this is kind of, it's a Hobonichi Weeks, and I have stolen that idea, and I think it was Simone that first did this, where I just kind of track with which pen and ink combination I was journaling. And I definitely had some dry spells where I was not writing much at all. But I'm back at it and I'm loving it. And I love this for tracking it. And yeah, so here you have it. That's my current lineup.